would you say, like with a lot of Christians, and that they believe that God created them? Is that part of the, I suppose, a trick because they're God themselves, and not letting them understand that they are actually aspects of God, but created by this separate entity, because that's how they view God, as a complete separate, and we're subordinate to them, kind of thing. It's to that God, and it kind of, in some way, I look at it now and think that's quite demoralizing in a way. Is that part of the trick in a way?
No, of course, because again, what you are doing by creating that belief and that expectation, really, that you're going to have a saviour coming on a white horse from the clouds, you are creating an external belief. When the people who are creating the external belief know full well that the true temple is you.
Yeah.
The true temple of God, that because we don't understand it is the true temple of God, it has to be rebuilt. So when the Bible talks about Jesus rebuilding the temple, it is really rebirthing ourselves and reforming and remaking ourselves. But you are looking outside of yourself for something that is not going to come, because it is inside. If I was to say to you, go into your garden now and look for gold, knowing full well that it's actually in Paul's garden, I know very well that you're not going to find it, but you're going to spend your whole life looking. But it's never going to come. And it's that carrot at the end of the donkey. It always moves with the donkey. You never get to it.
Yeah.
So they're creating this external system that they know people will never reach, because the true temple is you.
Yeah.
And the true key to that temple is your tongue, which vibrates sound. Word.
Wow. Brilliant.
Now, when you look at, the Ten Commandments, and he talked about, thou shalt have no other God except me. In the Kabbalah, me means you. So in other words, you shall have no other God except you. But because again it's been mistranslated, thinking there's some kind of external force that is talking to you, saying that you must worship me. Well, that is taking you outside of where salvation is.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, I can see that totally. I don't know, Paul. I mean, that come with you as well, about your religious background. So I was brought up a kind of Christian religion, but I quickly knocked a lot of it on the head. And I think this is where it's kind of led me to question things, because I mean the whole man in the sky thing, quite a long time ago, I kind of knocked that on the head, and then I started questioning things quite early, like this devout praying to God. I kept thinking to myself, well, if this God is all loving and that, why would he want to massage his ego all the time, having everyone say how great he is, and thank him for every little kind of thing and how wonderful he is? And those kind of things kind of played on me, and then I got more deeper into a lot of aspects of it. What was your background, Paul? I mean, religious, to bring you in a little bit.
Yeah, well, I was born Catholic, but I started getting a little bit less religious when I was getting about 11ish, and then I had my near-death experience that really did change my thought process.
Yes.
But really, yeah. I mean, everyone's got their own wishes and views on religion, and like Michael said as well. I could be wrong, or I could be right, and vice versa with everybody else. So I'm just going to obviously let everyone just choose what they want to do. But when I do talk about my near-death experience, I get a lot of people say to me more from the religious side of things, because I didn't see a Jesus or I didn't see any particular religious figure, and I get a lot of slating from when I do my interviews. It's kind of like it's strange that they don't really give, like Michael said, they don't give that how they've been taught to be really kind and loving. They don't.
It's respect your own experience, though, isn't it? That's your own experience.
Yeah, yeah. But when Michael's on about sound and shapes and things like that, what was going into my head was the ice crystals experiment, where I forgot his name, was a Japanese scientist, I believe it was. And he was talking to ice crystals in a loving way in some place. Another one, he was like giving some really horrible words, and everyone was different. Beautiful ones was looking gorgeous, ice crystals that was treated really, really bad. They looked disformed and horrible, and they had horrible music played, like rock, heavy metal rock or something like that. And I thought that's quite interesting as well. What's your thoughts on that one, Michael?
That was Dr. Amato. But basically, yes, because it is a vibration. Now, when you walk into a church and you walk through into the womb, and you see Donald Trump with his return to the cosmic womb, we are going into a place of sanctity, or certainly we were originally, where you have geometry, shapes, induced by sound, which is the choir, the organ, all different things. When you have the true high vibrational sounds connecting to the high vibrational geometry, then you are being realigned as an individual, and that is speaking to you at a cellular level, genetic level, and it is changing you into a place of sanctity through sound. Of course, when you start changing the chants, Gregorian chants to different things, it can have a different effect, but originally that's what was happening. When you look at the word pray, again in Hebrew it means the mouth, because you pray with your mouth. Now, interestingly, the word fish means the mouth of man, where we express our beliefs, we express our opinions. And early Christians were called little fishes, and fishes swim around in schools. Now, where do we send our little fishes? To school. So you can then start to go back to real early Christianity, which Christianity was originally a secret society that was accepted as a national religion. But originally they would have to meet in secret and give themselves secret symbols of the fish and with the hands and different signs in order not to be persecuted. So that then developed into something that became above ground rather than underground. So we can trace all of these different things and what we do. We always say Amen. Well, Amen is Alman, which is a prophecy, positive or negative, of the future and different things. So Amen is Amen, which gives us the word Om, which Hindus believe is the primordial sound of creation. It's not. Om is the sound of Earth as it rotates on its axis. The same as Gaia actually is the Earth ecliptic, not Earth. The word Pandora is Earth. So when you look at the Avatar movie and humans go to Pandora to destroy it, it's really telling you that humans came to Earth and we're destroying it. And when you look at Arthur's Seat in Edinburgh, Scotland, King Arthur's Seat is like a tree. And in the ancient past, you used to have forest warriors called the Picts, Picts, that used to paint themselves completely blue. So you have blue forest warriors fighting to save a tree. That sounds like Avatar movie to me. And Pandora, that's Earth. And when we start to realign these dragon lines, these energy lines, dragon lines, ley lines being significant because the word Pendragon means head dragon or master of the dragon. When these reactivate and realign, it sees the return of King Arthur. So that is what the return of King Arthur is. It's the realignment and reactivation of Earth's arterial energy lines, upon which spiritually designed buildings are placed upon certain interchanges. And when you see the domes around the world, not only does it mean the skull of wisdom, the wise dome, but it is also known as the dragon egg, which gives you the intersections of the dragon lines. So you can trace all of the things that we do and believe and say back to an absolute sacred place.
Wow.
But
dragons and serpents pop up a lot, don't they? In a lot of ancient cultures and symbols and everything. So with dragons and serpents, what is the symbology behind? What is the representation of that? Is it several meanings? What?
The serpent really relates to a few things, but largely your Kundalini energy, your awakening.
Yeah.
Basically. And when you go back to the Garden of Eden, where Eve, which means serpent anyway, tempts Adam, or the serpent tempts Adam. as a punishment, the serpent no longer had legs to walk, because originally they tell us that the serpent walks, but because of the punishment of his sins, which again is planetary, nothing else, he had to crawl on his belly. The snake man, which we see a lot in the Anunnaki story as well, a snake man represents someone who has awakened the serpent within him. So in other words, activated his kundalini. So if you suddenly lose your legs and you can no longer walk, you have lost that divinity. So that is symbolic of the fall of man. When you look at the dragon, again, there's many understandings of the dragon, but in our own little universe, in our own mastery of self environment, you have the pentagram, which represents the symbol of the mysteries, which is really the 5 elements, but it's 6 elements because the direct center is the 6th element, which is creation. But the 5 elements of the pentagram, you have your fire, your earth, your water, your air, and you have the 5th element, which is the ether, the cosmos. Now, when you've mastered your 4 elements, you then pass fire to the ether, which is the true meaning of that. It is not anything sinister, the true meaning of that. It's also the true meaning of that, the hand-horns, because you are connecting fire to ether, which is you are basically the 4 becomes the 1, the cosmos. Now the dragon symbolizes your 4 elements because he breathes fire, he flies through the air, he has scales that represent water, and he digs his claw into the earth. So the dragon is the 4 elements. So when you become the Pendragon, you have mastered yourself. Now in Lichfield Cathedral, there is an effigy of a priest who has a dragon below his feet. It is telling you that he has become the 5th element, the Pentagon, because he has mastered his elements. And when you master yourself, you have to balance your elements, because for argument's sake, if you are always angry, then your fire element is out of balance. If you are always crying and sad and depressed, your water element is out of balance. If you cannot control your thoughts and what you say, your air element is out of balance. And if you don't look after your body, your earth element is out of balance. And unless all of those things are in balance in a spiritual way, you cannot connect fire to the ether. You cannot become the cosmos again. So the dragon, again, dragon is associated with earth energy. You will have these dragon lines that form and manifest as a dragon because they're dragon lines. But in our little universe, it is really the mastery of self.
Wow. I knew it was like kind of, well, you see it a lot, don't you, the serpents and dragons, so it's got a lot of meaning, an important meaning as well. Wow, I love it. Have you got any questions, Paul? I've been kind of asking a lot.
No, I've been asking a few things as well. I watched recently a documentary about pyramids, and one person explained the word pyramid comes from the word fire, pyro, in the middle. What's your thoughts on that one, Michael?
Yes, it does in terms of pyro. Now, pyromaniac is obviously fire. The word id also relates to the brain as well. So you're talking about fire in the brain, which is the illumination, which is the Christ within as well. So yes, I mean the pyramid, as I was saying, it's the 3rd dimensional manifestation of the 4th dimensional spin, going back into that there's always a higher dimension to what the shape is. But it also represents the world of matter is cubic. The fabric of matter is a cube. Now, when you take the top 4 corners off a cube, it creates the tetrahedron. Now, the tetrahedron is divinity manifest, and the cube is the material world. So the pyramid also represents your own inner divinity. Now, when you find your own inner divinity, you are symbolized by the pyramid, because it is the divinity manifest. And you become the God-man, the Godhead. In this world, we have, according to mystics, we have 2 species of man living on the same planet, which is God-man and beast man. Beast man is the animalistic nature that we see every day and witness it in humans. The pack mentality, you know, must have this, must have that, must have everything. That is the animal instinct. When you become the God man, you are again represented by the gargoyle and different other things, because the gargoyle is the grotesqueness of the human condition, but the wings give you your potential to fly, and that represents spirit. So you have grotesque matter and the wings of spirit. So within the gargoyle, you can go from human condition, human potential. You can then become the God man, not the beast man. The Sphinx itself, the bottom half of the Sphinx is animal man, the top half is God man, and you make that transition.
Wow.
Amazing.
That
That
makes
is.
sense, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is. It's yeah. I'm learning so much here. It's amazing. I especially like the balance side of things. You know, if you're angry, you fire and that kind of thing. I really associate with that. But thank you very much for that. Brilliant.
Yeah, you can see it all, can't you? I mean, when you explain it, Michael, it's you kind of have these moments. Oh yeah, you can see that. You know, it's that realization that's like it more makes kind of sense. You know. But I want to ask, something that popped into my head is where did the whole aspect of like witches and wizards come from? Because that's kind of a lot you see in mystical terms, don't you? But what I mean, does that have any hidden meaning to what we think of them, I suppose, in popular culture and things like that?
I'll get you, my pretty, and your little dog too.
Again, it originally started. I mean, the word witch means she knows. So again, it's basically the female that understands. When you look at the cauldron, it represents the womb. When you look at the ancient burial mounds, they represent the womb. You know, after you pass, you go through the womb, and you basically navigate through the labyrinth of the belly, Stonehenge, and you come out. If you navigate correctly, you come out at sunrise, which is basically a new day, a rebirth. So when you look at the word sin, biblical sin, clearly it gives us the word sinister, which again, in modern day, we have a negative connotation to the word sinister. But originally, the word sinister just meant lunar wisdom. So biblical sin is lunar wisdom, which is the left-hand path, which is the path of the feminine. Now, because you wanted to remove the matriarchal system and bring in a patriarchal male-dominant system, you had to eradicate sin. So how do you do that? You bring in the right-hand path, which is the sun cult, the masculine, the Christ who comes to eradicate sin. So in other words, there's the moon, this matriarchal earth system that we have of balance, of niceness, of care. And we have this matriarchal system, the sun. I've now eradicated sin. I've removed the feminine principle. And I've replaced it with a patriarchal male-dominated system. That is why in this world, every significant part of society is run by males. It is male-dominated. Because we've eradicated sin. We've eradicated the feminine.
Wow.
By doing that, they've created an imbalance, because one of the reasons that we have duality in this world is to attain balance. That's the only way we can attain balance. So if you remove 50% of that, like the New Age say, just concentrate on the light, not the dark, you are creating an imbalance within self. Now, the only way that you can bridge with the church arch, with the two pillars, which connects the left and the right, is by being balanced. If you wear the hijab, symbolically you are cutting yourself off, the feminine is cut off. If you're a Jehovah's Witness and you have to wear a skirt because out of respect for man, that is an imbalance. And for as long as there is an imbalance, you will never attain the God state. So they're deliberately eradicating sin, which is removing the feminine principle from society. but they're also knowingly creating an imbalance within self by doing it.
Wow. And again, you look at it and it makes so much sense as well, doesn't it? You look at it, you can see where it is, where it lies. Yeah, really good. I've just checked me. I've only got about 8% left on my battery, but I just wanted. I mean, have you got a question, Paul? I've got one thing I might want to ask. It's just
go on then. Yeah, I'm good, mate.
It's just, in films and TV, there's a lot of aspects on it that are giving us messages. Like films. I mean, we recently watched Game of Thrones, and I kept thinking there's a lot of symbology in the dragons and stuff. Someone must know who's implementing this into these kind of films and TV programs. How is that getting? I mean, is it just being passed down? I mean, I suppose when it comes to the production value, they look at it kind of nefariously and don't kind of think anything about it. They just put it in. But there must be some aspect coming down from another level into these films and TV and giving us these messages and some of the truth, aspects of the truth. What are your thoughts on that, Michael?
This is basically a modern day Da Vinci painting, isn't it? Really, where these truths have been put onto a canvas. You have a canvas that moves, and that they are telling you, that there are people there that are communicating this information. Firstly, to their own kind, because they know that they're communicating in public. But also, some of them are doing it with the hope that people will begin to understand what's going on and what they're saying. And for those, again, I found this code in the Rosetta Stone of Egypt, talking about the eyes that can see, the ears that can hear, and you then have reference to that in the Bible. So when you get the eyes to see and the ears to hear, when you understand through the sun and through Saturn, sight and hearing, you will understand what they're saying. And when you understand what they are saying, you'll be speaking a high vibratory language, and nothing can be hidden from you. But they're doing it in a way that only the people who've put in the groundwork and worked at it will get it. Yeah. Because it really is jealously guarded. It really is protected. And only the people, and that's why you have invites into these groups, brotherhoods and sisterhoods. Brother and sister just means fire and water, which are two opposites. The sacred marriage, of the two opposites. But when you get it, you are worthy to get it. You are given the golden key, so to speak. Yeah. And once you have the golden key, it unlocks many doors for you.
When you watch TV and films, you must all the time think, I know what that's saying, I know what that's communicating. You must feel that all the time. Is that the case? Do you look at? I mean, do you consciously watch TV and think, right, let's see what they're trying to communicate with this? Do you do that, or does it just come at you and think, yeah, I know what that's saying?
Yeah. What I do is, if I do watch the TV, I will just sit down and I'll just flip through the channels and see what's on. So I don't have anything specific in mind. Yeah. And if I come across something that I think looks interesting, I'll watch it. But in the course of watching it, there's just so many things that you can't not notice when you know what they are. Yeah. And so it becomes, I spot the symbol.
I bet it does, yeah.
It's not, I'll flick Coronation Street on because I know that the symbol's on the Rover's Return badge. I don't do that.
Yeah.
If I'm watching something and they present themselves, which they always do, then it takes my focus. The same with walking past a church, walking past an old building, walking past street signs, obelisks, all of these different things. You can't help but talk to them, really, because they're presenting themselves. And if you imagine, just as a spirit would feel when they pass from this world and their relatives think that they don't exist anymore, but they do, but you don't know that they exist. These ancient monoliths, which are actually alive and have an awareness, are saying, come on, I'm here. I'm here. I'm trying to say something to you. And people just passing by thinking, that looks nice. So, it's something that the people will eventually begin to gain more and more interest. But I do watch things not to spot them deliberately, but they do present themselves.
Yeah. Wow. But it's been fascinating. Have you got a question, Paul, before we finish?
No, I'm just conscious of your battery, Johnny. So, but I'm just interested about just future for yourself, there, Michael, and how to find you. Really, that's my things.
The best place to go is my website, which is michael-feeley.com. Because even though if you just type my name in, it'll come up with different things. But the website has a lot of things to look at and see. It has all the links that you'll need to get to social media sites. So probably if you go there first, then that would be the best place to start. Everything that I do in the future will be put on there in terms of what is happening and where I am. So people can become involved in that, and there's also a contact form should anybody have any questions as a result of this or anything else, just to email and get in touch.
That's brilliant. Well, thank you very much, Michael. And have you got a date yet for when your new book, the Lost Word of God, is out? Or are you not at that stage yet?
Yeah, it soon will be at that stage, because I say it's been written, and it's been written rather quickly. So it's coming together chapter by chapter very fast. I don't have a specific date yet, but when I get towards the end of the chapters, then I can start, editing it and formulating the date. But hopefully in the next couple of months it should be out. Fantastic.
Well, we'll be happy to promote the book, and I can't wait to read it myself. It's fascinating. I've got most of your books, actually, Michael. I think they're fantastic, and I do recommend them and urge followers to look into Michael's work and his books. They're a fascinating read. It's been a pleasure again, Michael. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
And once I've read the book, it'd be great to have you back again and discuss that in a deeper level, if that's good with you.
It's good with me. Just contact any time and we'll get it arranged anytime.
That's fantastic. It's been lovely having you, Michael. Wish you all the best and speak to you again soon. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yeah.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
They brainwashed my great uncle, brainwashed my cousin Bob. They even got my grandma when she was working for the mob. Brainwash you while you're sleeping, while in your traffic jam. Brainwash you while you're weeping, while still a baby in your prime. Brainwashed by the military, brainwashed under duress. Brainwashed by the media, you're brainwashed by the press. Brainwashed by computer, brainwashed by mobile phones. Brainwashed by the satellite, brainwashed to the bone. God, 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 won't you lead us through this mess? God, 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 from the places of concrete. God, 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 nothing's worse than ignorance.